So guys, I'm literally talking to myself for, I would say 5 minutes, and I forgot to press the go live button on the YouTube. So hello everybody, thank you for being patient. I'm 5 minutes late, even though I wasn't. I was actually on time. I'm 5 minutes late, even though I wasn't. I was actually on time. I'm 5 minutes late. That's weird. Let's mute that. So yes, I was just explaining to everybody that I was on Telegram and Discord earlier today, and hello everybody, by the way. Hello to Roger, hello to James, hello to Blame Kike, hello Cybermule, and anyone else that's watching. Sorry, it was streaming on my OBS, but it wasn't streaming on YouTube. I do apologize. EverRevoke. I was seeing some people talking about it. I had a person earlier on that was kind of like, well, what benefit is it to me? Why do I need to worry about revoking my tokens and my NFTs? And we'll get to that in a moment. And he was literally just saying about the process, and is there any risk of using EverRevoke and actually removing those approvals from your wallet? And essentially, in a nutshell, no, there's no risk whatsoever. In fact, you're reducing the risk of anything happening to your wallet by doing so. You know, there's a great article that's been written on EverRise.com about this. You know, if you actually go into EverRevoke, you can see the article here. We need dark mode, by the way. We need a dark mode for this. It's like blinded by the light. Hakuna, if you're watching or you watch back, you'll know exactly what I'm on about. So yeah, bringing security solutions. This is the latest in a whole suite of dApps that are coming out this year and beyond to kind of keep projects and investors safe and secure whilst in DeFi. What can I say, really? I mean, there's been numerous exploits which has been detailed here. We talk about the OpenSea and BadgerDAO attacks that centered around, obviously, approvals, token approvals. How dangerous can they be? Well, if you read this, and I'll read it out to you now, it's a good kind of segue into the topic. And also, if you haven't already, revoked tokens in your wallet, you may decide to do so. DeFi is built on smart contracts. Users interact with smart contracts by giving the smart contract access to all or part of the contents of their wallet through a process called token approval. Are you with me, guys? You're given, so when you transact in DeFi, you're communicating with smart contracts. You give them, those smart contracts, permission to access the contents of your wallet to a determined amount. Most of the time it's unlimited. And as long as the approval remains active, the link between your wallet and the smart contract is always there. There's always a link there. That means you could be asleep, you could be on holiday, you could be doing whatever you want. There'll always be that connection between your wallet and that smart contract. And obviously you can understand why that may be a bit concerning for you guys, or a potential vulnerability. Keeping token approvals active can save time and transaction costs in the future, but they can also leave your wallet vulnerable to potential attackers. Let's look at two examples. So we're talking about OpenSea, BadgerDAO. Okay, so one obviously being centered around NFTs, which are becoming have certainly grown more popular. And in this instance, over 1.1 million worth of NFTs were stolen back in January 2022, this year. And it's centered around token approvals. So, you've got to be really careful about this. Hey, Lord TJ. Let's clean up some wallet. Absolutely, Efren. I mean, this is a benefit to you. Honestly, even if you don't buy Rise tokens, if you're not a part of the EverRise community, that's fine. Using this dApp to revoke token approvals could save you your hard-earned money at the end of the day. And this is happened before, and it will happen again. If anyone out there is thinking, it doesn't need to worry, I don't need to worry about this, I don't transact that much in DeFi, I'm okay, I'm safe, I've got a cold wallet, I'm all right. No, once you've got that approval active, that's it. That smart contract can access your wallet. So just be careful. all right, and revoke tokens. There's no need to have them all sitting there for months and months. I had a wallet that I think I hadn't touched for over a year, and I had about 20 tokens in there, all of which had unlimited access to my wallet approvals. So, you know, for the fact it cost me what, you know, $5-10 worth of gas to kind of get all of them revoked, you know, I thought it was worth it, you know, just to make sure that that wallet's clean. It's a good way of calling it, cleaning your wallet. So, you know, how did it happen? Listing an NFT for sale on OpenSea requires interacting with the blockchain, and you have to pay a gas every time you interact with the blockchain. Like we always say, if you're going to do anything on the blockchain, you have to pay the gas. OpenSea users were reluctant to pay the fees associated with a delisting for NFTs for sale. To bypass this, they transferred their NFT to a different wallet they controlled. Since the original wallet no longer held the NFT that had previously been listed for sale, the listing was no longer active. This was a simple solution to the issue of paying unnecessary ETH gas fees, which could have been over $1,000 at the time per transaction, depending on the network congestion. The vulnerability occurred when the NFTs were transferred back, however, to the original wallet that had previously listed the NFT for sale. Only this time, the NFTs were worth much more money than they were when they were originally bought, and the exploiters were able to take advantage of the listing created previously when the NFTs were worth much less. So the contract was still active on the blockchain, even though it did not appear active on OpenSea. So again, talking about smart contracts and how they can burrow into your wallets. And if you've got that open access and you've got that approval access there, you know, you are never truly 100% safe. That's just the fact. And then obviously talking about Badger DAO, which was, you know, an organization created to give Bitcoin holders access to DeFi. Users of Badger DAO have the ability to leverage their BTC holdings against the world of DeFi. Back in 2021, website compromised for $120 million worth of assets. So I tweeted out earlier on, actually. I tweeted out, if we go in, I'll go to my tweet, actually. I'll show you. Check this out, guys. These numbers are ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Did I really tweet this much? It's a pinned tweet. It should be a pinned tweet. There it is. Last year, 1.3 billion. 1.3 billion was lost in crypto due to hacks and exploits. A lot of people won't ever really understand how much that is. Like that's a lot of money, you know. And you know, it's June of 2022, and we're already past the 1.3 billion mark. We are at 1.7 plus billion that's been lost. You know, and I go on to saying that security is often overlooked, but it's fundamental for adoption. Absolutely. You know, big players are going to come into this space if they don't feel safe, if they are seeing exploit after scam, after vulnerability being taken advantage of. So it's really important that we, as a community and as a collective in DeFi, work together to try and mitigate these situations from happening. So this was, again, hackers gained access to the front end of the website. They were able to add a malicious code to prompt a wallet connection request. Again, talking about phishing, talking about injecting code and pop-ups coming up on your screen. If anything comes up that's asking to connect to your wallet that you do not recognize, that you did not initiate, stay well away from it. There are major players in the hacking community and the scamming community that will make things look real convincing. And I mean, we've seen Bored Apes getting stolen left, right, and center due to this as well. Very convincing. And you'll be browsing the internet and you'll subconsciously click something, and all of a sudden you've given approval, unlimited approval to your wallet. Big vulnerability there. So hackers ended up waiting over 10 days before they acted on the approvals that they received. So many people had connected their wallets and granted access to approvals. 10 days they waited, and a wallet containing over 50 million worth of assets connected to the website and gave approval to hackers. Wow. So, you know, people that have got $50 million worth of assets connected to this website. So and I would like to think that these people aren't the retail, everyday, new to crypto, just coming to DeFi, not sure what I'm doing. $50 million, they connected to it. So that's how convincing it must have been. So yeah, that's incredible. They stole over 120 million worth of assets there. And again, it's just all about token approval. So how much of a big deal is it? It's a big deal. Show us how ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's madness. It's absolute madness. It's so, and it's happening every single day. It's happening every single day, guys. Make no mistake about it. Money is being siphoned out of DeFi every single day via token approvals. It's an easy way for scammers to drain your wallet. And majority of the time you don't even know that you've done it. You don't even know. Like, I'm going to ask you guys now. How many of you guys have been guilty of clicking a transaction? Do you read through that transaction? Do you go through that transaction and find out what you're giving up? What access rights you're giving? What approval limit you're giving? Of course you don't. Majority of people don't do that. That's boring. That's like, would you read the small print at the bottom of the contract that you're about to sign? Would you bother reading it? Yeah, do you need to read it? Yeah, you should probably read it, but are you going to read it? No, because it's boring, it's monotonous, it's going to take time, and everyone, especially when it comes to DeFi, you're in such a rush to get your tokens. You've heard about an exciting project or exciting NFT that's coming out, so maybe it's a free mint. We'll talk about it in a minute as well. You're getting excited, and in that excitement, in that moment of excitement, you can do things that essentially will open your wallet up to attack. Things like any new project that comes out that you're not sure of, certainly haven't got a team that's doxed, or they're a bit shady. Certainly wouldn't be using a wallet that I have my major holdings in. I'd be creating fresh wallets for that. NFT mint that comes out, free mint to everybody in the first 2,500 NFTs, a free mint. Oh, brilliant. Connect to their website. Connect your wallet to their website, give approval. Oh wow, okay, they're asking for an unlimited approval. Yeah, okay. Use a brand new wallet. Don't be using your main crypto wallet for these sort of things. This sort of advice. How long does it take? How long does it take to set up a wallet? Like, anyone want to tell me how many of you guys have made a wallet recently? Like, tell me how long does it take? Like, especially if you use MetaMask. Milliseconds. Exactly. By making that new wallet, you are firewalling yourself away from the rest of your crypto holdings. And, certainly for, brand new high risk ventures, I certainly would be doing that. I wouldn't be touching it with my main wallet. I certainly wouldn't be using my hard wallet, that's got all my crypto in to connect to a WordPress website that's got a wallet connect function. I certainly wouldn't be doing that. So yeah, really important that we drill down on this. We get I will keep saying it, and TJ will keep saying it. Everyone on the team will keep saying it. Use EverRevoke. Revoke token permissions in your wallet. Get it out, get it gone. Unless you're doing trades every single day where you need to have that approval active to save you on gas fees to and from, and it's only the gas fee is very nominal. It's very small. But if you're doing high frequency trading, I can understand that you might want to keep that approval open to keep that back and forth. But majority of people I know, and a lot of you guys in EverRise, you're not doing the high frequency trading on all of the DeFi tokens that you're in, right? Because a lot of the tokens they've got transaction fees. It's not easy to day trade them. Certainly, I wouldn't attempt to do so. So it really does apply to all of you that have got tokens that you're looking to hold in your wallet. So EverRevoke, going back to it, got some tokens here, got an NFT as well. When you go, so what is a token approval And how does it happen? So you'll notice something here. I want you to tell me if you notice something about what is on the screen right now. There's one difference. Can someone tell me? I'll give you 30 seconds to try and guess. That's right, friend. The amount. Absolutely, the amount. So, EverSwap will not ask for unlimited access. That's the big difference. So another great thing about EverSwap is it won't ask for unlimited approval access to your... So when you interact with the EverRise smart contract using EverSwap, it's not defaulting to unlimited. It's going to default to the tokens that you're transferring at the time, which is another amazing safety feature that the team have put in place. So nice one there, friend. Give yourself a pat in the back. So yeah, we go into this. So we go into like revoking. We're going to revoke them. It's going to give you details of the address, the amount that it's you've got kind of authorized. This is unlimited. You can see that I did it on the quick swap router. I can just revoke that now with a nominal gas fee. So this is basically next to nothing, pennies essentially. But you know, we talk about how many of you actually look at like the breakdown of transactions. I edit the permissions, so you can see now that what this transaction is doing is it's actually going to the approval limit and it's setting the approval limit to 0. Okay, that's what it's doing. It's writing the approval limit at 0. I can change that if I wanted to in MetaMask, but I'm not going to. And that's what you do. You do that. You set the approval limit to 0. Null and void, completely disappears from the list. Simple as that. Has anyone got any questions over EverRevoke or want to, you know, find out more about it? Just feel free. Cool. And then obviously you can see that transaction on the blockchain after you've done it. NFTs, the same. I got this one from TofuNet. And again, with this, it's got access to my wallet. It can remove those NFTs. So, gonna revoke that. I don't want to sell it. If I do want to sell it, eventually I can go back and I can grant that access again at a later date. I don't need to have it active now. Again, gas fee, very small. So no questions. I like it. I like it. Who wants to? Okay, I think we'll leave it there on EverRevoke then. If we've got no questions about it, we talked about the key takeaways. Let's just go over that. Maintaining control over your wallet is one of the most important security features or security measures that you can do. Many do not understand exactly what it means to approve access to their wallet and what is made possible with that confirmation. To save time, most permissions are unlimited. This way, users don't have to worry about constantly approving the protocol to use it. The price of this convenience is the potential for bad actors to have unlimited access to your wallet. People do not think twice about giving approval, even if they won't be using the protocol frequently. Regularly, yeah, so this is the thing. I had tokens that I haven't touched for over a year that had full access to my wallet. Regularly view and revoke permissions that do not need to be active in your wallet to protect from external threats. Absolutely. Thank you, TJ. Thank you, TJ. Thank you ever so much, guys. You guys are all educated, right? You guys are all educated, but are you educated? Can somebody tell me what an AMM is? Does anyone know what an AMM is? Like TJ, not you. I've got a feeling that Efren might know. He switched on. It starts with A, yeah. SB said earlier on, I revoked 20 plus post missions last night and I slept like a baby afterwards. It only cost me about $1. Automated market maker, yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Automated market maker using liquidity pools, absolutely. So why is that different? What's the main difference? See how many people here know. What's the main difference between a automated market maker and what exchanges use when it comes to an order book? What's the main difference between an automated market maker and an order book? Can anyone tell me that? I like it, Jar Jar. I like it. Ratio. Counterparties. Liquidity. Have you guys heard of the constant product formula? So with an order book, you are... With an order book in an exchange, you are basically... You're hoping that someone's got a buy order for what you're looking to sell for. And the frustrating thing is that if you're on an exchange, you're having to sell at a price that someone's willing to purchase it for. So, and if you haven't got the orders there, you're going to have to sell it for less. Unless you put an order in, and then you have to wait for someone to match that order, to match your sell order with a buy order. Hey, Pepe. So yeah, some good points there. So automatic market makers. How many people in the chat are 100%? How many of you guys know how automated market makers work? And how many of you guys? Like how many people in the chat, put an X in the chat if you know how they work. I'm gonna be honest now. It took me a long time to work this out. DeFi versus CeFi. Roger, don't worry. Don't worry, this is the good thing about this. This is actually a really good video I'm going to show you now. Really, really good video, because this video explains it so well, and we're going to stop it. Okay? This video is amazing. This by Whiteboard Crypto, and it's just incredible how they explain it. It's such an easy way of explaining it.
You might be wondering, what is an automated market maker? Well, an automated market maker allows traders to buy and sell certain coins using an algorithm that dictates how expensive something should be based on how much of it there is. As someone buys one asset, it gets more and more expensive because there's less of it. And as they give it another asset, it gets cheaper and cheaper because there's more of it.
So what's he just explained there now? So when you buy more of an asset, it gets more expensive. And when you give back the asset, it gets cheaper and cheaper. What's he just kind of explained there in that sentence? Oh, can you not hear that? You guys heard that, right? Tell me you guys heard that. I'm pretty sure you heard that. Price impact? Yes. No, I'm no relation to him. Coin in, token out, ratio has been to be balanced, so market cap up. Supply and demand. Absolutely. Efren, supply and demand. It works on supply and demand. Absolutely.
Basically, it's supply and demand, but it's using an algorithm instead of the traditional method, which uses a person. Welcome to Whiteboard Crypto, where we explain cryptocurrency topics using analogies, stories, and examples so that you can actually understand them. And in this video, we're going to cover what an automated market maker is and exactly how it works. Let's dig in. Let's say that you're a potato farmer. You're sick and tired of going to work and seeing potatoes everywhere, then coming home to eat only more potatoes, even though you can cook some potatoes potatoes in very interesting ways. You do not want any more potatoes. But here's the real kicker though. You live in a village of potato farmers, so you can't really trade your potatoes for anything else. It would be nice to trade my potatoes.
How that would really suck, wouldn't it? If you had loads of potatoes as a potato farmer and you lived in a village full of potato farmers. So listen to this bit, guys, because this really kind of explains how it works.
For something else like apples, you think. Well, along comes a trader who has access to a boat, and he says, I found a village over east who grows apples, and they are sick of them. I am here to see if you would like to invest in a trade. Well, now that your wish has come true, and you don't want the chance to disappear, you tell the trader yes. He says, the apple farmers have put up 50,000 apples to add to my apple potato exchange business. If you can give me 50,000 potatoes, we can get started. So your village has a meeting and they decide to join the trader in exchanging apples and potatoes. The trader goes, here's the thing though, I have a magical genie with me that will store all 50,000 apples and all 50,000 potatoes in his magical lamp to keep safe. That way they don't go bad. But he wants to keep a perfect ratio of the value of both of these. The trader goes on, since together we put in 50,000 apples and 50,000 potatoes, he wants both of these numbers to always multiply to equal 2.5 billion, which is equal to 50,000 times 50,000. This way, if one year there are less apples, the apples will cost more to buy. Now, if you're currently... Okay,
I'm very mindful that this is getting quite involved, and let's break it down. Okay, so these numbers here are really important. Really, really important. 50,000 by 50,000 times by 50,000, 2.5 billion. Can anyone tell me, does anyone know what that is? What that example is? I'm sure there's somebody in here now that can tell me what that is. I'm sure there's some brain box in here that knows. And it can educate all of us. And why is it important that they add up to 2.5 billion? We'll find that out in a minute. No, it's not market cap. This is the constant product formula, okay? And they've always got to add up to that. They've always got to add up to that amount for the algorithm to work. So in this case, they've made it actually really easy to understand. So 50,000 potatoes, 50,000 apples. It'll continue to explain it now.
Confused at what the magical genie has mentioned, it is actually the formula for a type of automated market maker called a constant product automated market maker. It uses the inverse formula x times y equals k. Well, x and y are the quantities or the amounts of the things that you have, where k is a constant that always stays the same and it does not change. In this case, k is 2.5 billion. Let's keep going on with an example so that maybe you can understand it just a bit better. The trader says, right?
So in our case, one would be the Rise token and one would be BNB or one would be Ethereum. You with me? So you're giving, so when you buy Rise, you're giving your BNB to the AMM. And when you give your BNB into the AMM, that goes into the pool and you get Rise tokens out. The more Rise tokens you pull out, the less remain in the pool, and therefore they gain in value. And this will be explained now how it works. So the more you put in BNB, the less Rise tokens you have in the actual pool. Okay.
Right now, there is a perfect 50 to 50 ratio of potatoes to apples, but that is because I have priced them each at $1. When you guys start trading, one of these may become more valuable, and thus it should be priced at more than $1. Let me go through an example with you guys so you know how it works. Alright, so right now there are 50,000 apples and 50,000 potatoes, and the number of both of those must equal 2.5 billion when multiplied. So let's say a potato farmer comes along with 7,000 potatoes to trade, because they really want some apples. So he gives them to the genie, and he waits while the genie figures out how many apples to give him. So now we have 57,000 potatoes in the genie's lamp, but we need to know how many apples to give the potato farmer. So let's start with some math. So we take 2.5 billion and we divide it by 57,000. You might be wondering why? Well, hopefully you'll see in a second. The answer we get to this math question is 43,859. So this is the number of apples that should be left over in the magical genie's lamp. However, right now there's 50,000. So we just need to find out the difference and give the difference to the potato farmer. Well, the difference is 6,140. So we give the potato farmer 6,140 apples.
Woo! How many people are still with me? How many people are still with me? You guys still there? If apple goes up, potato must go down to balance the 2.5 billion. Yes. So in this case, potato goes up in quantity, apple comes down. So the amount of apples you get is less. Do you understand why it's less? Does anyone understand why does anyone understand why he's getting 6,140 apples for his 7,000 potatoes? X in the chat if you don't understand. Put an X in the chat if you don't understand why he's getting less apples for his 7,000 potatoes. Don't feel bad about putting an X because we'll cover it. It comes down to that math. Yeah, the math. It does come down to the math. It absolutely does. Each incremental apple receives fewer potatoes because you're no longer 50-50, right? You're no longer 50-50 on the ratio. So as soon as you start putting more of one thing in this case it was potatoes, you're knocking out that ratio. And 57,000 potatoes, you divide 2.5, which is the constant, right? The 2.5 billion by the 57,000. Okay, because you've put 7,000 potatoes in, so you've made it 57,000 instead of it being 50,000. You with me, guys? You divide that and you get 43,859. That's this is all done. This is all done by an algorithm. This is all done by a smart contract, right? This is all done by a smart contract. This is the reason why we need smart contracts in DeFi, because these are what allow us to make to set these market makers, these automated market makers. This algorithm itself, 43,859. Okay, that's what you're left with. Then you've got to then find out what the difference is, which in this case 6,140 apples to be given back to the farmer. You will never get one apple for one full potato and vice versa. Yeah, supply and demand. It comes down to supply and demand. If you just get it in your head, supply and demand, supply and demand, supply and demand. Like if you've got more of something, it gets less value. If you get less of something, it becomes more valuable. Same thing in this market, in the liquidity pool, in the algorithm, the way it works. This is why we talk about supply crunch. This is why we talk about, how many tokens are available in the liquidity pool and what could potentially happen when less and less tokens are available and that are in circulation. And this is why we've got people on the Telegram and on the Discord that kind of work things out, and they go, well, if this comes to this, and they start speculating. This is what it's based on. It's based on the algorithm, the constant product formula and how it works. So it goes on.
Now you might be wondering, how come we gave 7,000 potatoes, but we got around 6,000 apples? Well, as more and more apples were bought up, they became more expensive. This is why the farmer didn't get exactly 7,000 apples back. So now there are 57,000 potatoes and 43,859 apples in the genie's lamp. Let's make sure that we didn't upset the genie. 57,000 times 43,859 does equal 2.5 billion. So the magical genie is still happy. I hope that this this is starting to make sense, and if you've gotten this far into my explanation of how an automated market maker happens, without even using any technical words, I think we deserve a big thumbs up. But
it honestly, once you get your head around it, it's not that complicated, but it's important. I think it's really important that people know how they work. Like in DeFi, this is how it works. This is how you gain value. This is how a token is valued. And you can also see when you set this up. Can anyone tell me what one disadvantage of this system is? Name me a disadvantage of this type of system. Hey Scott. So we talk about it being maths. First in gets more bang for buck. Well, yeah. Assuming that you see a demand for that, for that token, yes, absolutely. But with this, you've got one chance of setting this constant product formula. So when a token first starts off, and you've got one chance of setting this up, and getting it right. So in this example, you've got 50-50, right? You've got a 50-50 ratio. And with that 50-50 ratio, it's slowly incremental, the change. But if you started off with a skewed ratio, and obviously you can see how that could screw it all up and people would lose out, and it would be and that has happened. Extremely volatile, yeah. Extremely. You set your liquidity to market cap ratio from the jump. Yeah, but how many projects have you seen? I know I've seen some. They've got it all wrong. They set it completely wrong. Or they've set it to make the market cap look much bigger than what it really is. And all of a sudden, after trading goes live, it all goes downhill. So we'll carry on watching.
Before we continue with another example, let's run over a quick example of finding out how much each asset costs in dollars. So assume that there was $50,000 worth of apples in the beginning, since the magical genie said he priced them at $1 and there was 50,000 of them. So we just need to keep $50,000 as a constant when we're calculating their value. This is how much each asset should equal. So potatoes would be $50,000 over 57,000, because that's how many potatoes we have, which brings their price to 87.7 pennies for each potato. You might be wondering, why did they drop from $1? Well, it's because someone...
Why did they drop from $1? Why have the cost of potatoes? Why have they dropped from $1? Why they were at $1 at 50,000? At 50,000 potatoes, they were at $1. Why are they now less than $1? Can anyone tell me? Come on, I know you guys know the answer to this. You set your liquidity to market cap. Yeah. Preset is critical. Yes. Someone is going to give me the answer in a second. I know they are. I've got to wait a few seconds to wait for chat to catch up. Efren's on fire tonight. Efren's on fire tonight. He's paying attention. Efren's paying attention. I love it. Absolutely. There's more potatoes now. So when there's more of something, when there's more of something, it goes down in value. So always have in your head, when there's more of something in a liquidity pool, it goes down in value. When there's less of something, it goes up in value. If all of a sudden we went into a crazy bull market and people were buying Rise tokens and they were taking them away from the liquidity pool and they were keeping them in their wallets, that's why price goes up, because there's less in the liquidity pool. Less tokens circulating in the liquidity pool means price go up. On the flip side, if you have a token, people start to panic. People are screaming rug pull. People are panicking because the dev's not been seen for a few hours, and they start going in, they go into the Pancake Swap, and they go into Uniswap, and they start swapping back their tokens for Ethereum, or they go swap their tokens back for BNB. You are putting more tokens into that liquidity pool. Therefore, more tokens in the liquidity pool means that the AMM reduces the value of said token. That's why, price, we see the price volatility. That's exactly how it works. That's a constant product formula. How the token derives its value. Like we've always talked about how the Rise token being paired with the native, right? This is how it works when it comes to the value of the token. Obviously, there is also the factor of the value of the native token also, which is valued externally in other markets, but we're talking about AMMs, and that's how it works. Supply and demand.
Someone brought a lot more of them to the genie. It's basic supply and demand. For example, if you could grow gold on trees in your backyard, gold would suddenly be a lot cheaper because there's a lot more of it. The more there is in the genie's lamp, the less they will cost. So from now on, instead of saying genie's lamp, I'm going to call it what it really is, a liquidity pool. So now let's calculate the price of the apples. This calculation would be $50,000 over $43,859. This means the apples are worth $1.14. They rose in price because there's less of them in the liquidity pool. So since this potato trader gave a bunch of potatoes to the liquidity pool and took out a bunch of apples, the price of apples went up and the price of potatoes went down, basically due to supply and demand, which is shown in the formula X times Y equals K. Now, I personally learned from examples, and this concept took me a week of studying to fully understand. So let's go over another example. Let's say a potato farmer brings up another 10,000 potatoes. So now there are 67,000 potatoes in the pool. We need to know how many apples to give that potato farmer. So we use our constant of 2.5 billion divided by 67,000, and we get 37,313. This means that there should be 37,313 apples in the pool. But right now,
you guys keeping up? Again, we go back to the constant. The 2.5 billion is the starting point, right? That's what you use to calculate the ratio.
Now we have 43,859. So we just calculate the difference and give it to the potato farmer, which is 6,546. This time the potato farmer paid even more for his apples since he kept buying them up. The liquidity pool charges more and more for them. That way it never runs out of stock. The price will exponentially keep going up as
So this is actually really good, because this is why you get people in Telegram that say, what happens when there's only what happens when there's no Rise tokens left, or there's no project token, DeFi tokens left? Like, what happens if they all sell out? They're not gonna all sell out because of this formula. This formula and this algorithm will make sure that they don't sell out, because the price of the token would get so expensive that it wouldn't be feasible. So if it ever got, at the point of which we got to say, this is hypothetical, but say at the point of which we were down to our last Rise token in the liquidity pool, anyone holding the Rise token would probably have they would be spending them, there would be so many people just basically cashing in. It'd be impossible for people to be that diamond handed. People would be sitting on millions and millions of dollars worth. Therefore it wouldn't happen. So that's why we say as supply goes down, the price goes up, but it will go down, and as the formula dictates, and then this is how it works. You put more in, you get less out. Over time, the more you put in, the less you get out. So we talk about slippage and things like that. This also factors in. Obviously, you got taxes as well. Yeah, so there's a lot of things that go into liquidity pools. But I'm hoping that you guys are with me on it.
He buys more. So now there are 67,000 potatoes and 37,313 apples in our liquidity pool. Both of these numbers multiply to 2.5 billion. So the genie, which is...
So let's just test that out. So basically, he's taken out 6,546 apples. He's put in 10,000 apples. So there's 10,000 potatoes. So the potatoes have now gone to 67,000. The apples have gone down to 37,000. So if we times those two numbers, I'm hoping this is right. Yeah, it rounds up to 2.5 billion. 2.5 billion. So that's how it works.
Actually, the algorithm is happy. Now, let's calculate the price. $50,000 divided by 67,000 potatoes means the potatoes are worth 74.6 pennies. They dropped even lower. Next, $50,000 divided by 37,313 apples means the apples are now worth $1.34.
So this is actually really good because he's originally priced them at $1 each, so you can kind of see how it works. So $50,000 was the original price. Divide them by what's in the liquidity. So, it's 50,000, which is obviously $50,000 by $50,000 equals 2.5 billion. You divide them by what's left in the pool, like he's saying, it gives you these prices in pennies. Wish I have some apples.
They rose in price. So again, we saw that there were more potatoes than before, so the price dropped, and there were less apples than before, so the price rose. Now, hopefully you are understanding how an automated market maker works. As someone buys more and more of something, the price goes up. The apples are costing more because there's less of them. And when it comes to pricing, the algorithm always wants the value of what it is holding to be 50-50. So if you multiplied the price of each asset by how many assets were total in the liquidity pool, the total would still be $50,000 worth of apples and $50,000 worth of potatoes. Let's do one more example, really quick just to drive it home. This time, an apple farmer comes along with 2,000 apples.
So did you get what he said there as well? But he always wants the AMM always wants the price to remain the same, 50,000. So if we go back to what he just drew a minute ago, I think this should work. I think it should work. If we go to 134 and times that by 37,313. Yeah, so like $1.34 by 37,313 equals 50,000 pretty much. Rounds to 50,000. And then you've got on the other side you've got potatoes, because there's more potatoes now in the liquidity pool, and they've dropped down to 74.6 pennies. Yeah. So you times them by 67,000 because that's how many is now in there. That gives you, again, I got that wrong. Yeah, I got that wrong. I put that in wrong. 0.074.6 times 67,000. Yeah, there you go. So it always wants the two products to calculate to 50,000
before, so the price rose. Now, hopefully $50,000 worth along with 2,000 apples. So he adds them to the liquidity pool, and now there are 39,313 apples. But we need to figure out how many potatoes to give him. If you want to, you can pause this video and try to come up with a number on your own. Just for fun, leave a comment of what you come up with in the comment section below. So finishing the math, 2.5 billion divided by 39,313 gives us 63,592, which is how many potatoes there should be in the pool. Well, right now there's still 67,000 potatoes, and the pool only wants 63,592. So we take the difference and we give it to the apple farmer, which is 3,408 potatoes. So in essence, the farmer gave 2,000 apples and got got 3,408 potatoes because at the time his apples were very valuable. Now we went over those examples really quick, and feel free to go back to the beginning of this video and watch it again.
Okay, so I hope that this is somewhat explained to you how an automated market maker works with liquidity pools. There's obviously more that goes into liquidity pools, and there's another video which discusses liquidity pools also, which we could look at in another time, another live stream. But have you guys found it interesting learning about how this works? Because I think it's really important that, like, you don't have to kind of, like, I'm not saying that you need to understand and go for every single project, you know, finding out how their constant product formula works, but it does help. Like, it does help when you're getting into a pre-sale, or you're finding out for a project for the very first time. If you are aware of it, you can spot potential red flags. You can decide that, you know, price is going to be way too volatile. Information is power, right? Information is power in this space, you know, and you know, the more you understand, the more you can safeguard against. And it doesn't even have to be against a developer or a team that are malicious. It could just be an incompetent developer or an incompetent team that mismanage, or they mess up the ratio. And you buy in, and at that point it's too late. And then all of a sudden it collapses because it's just constant going out of, you know, and it's trying its best to retain its average, but it can't. Therefore, you know, you're seeing massive volatility. So I'm going to leave it there, guys. I think it's been a great stream. I want to say thank you to all of you guys that have chilled out with me. I want to say, check out Whiteboard Crypto. I'll put the link in the chat if you're wanting to watch that back, and getting, you know, I'd recommend like getting a pen and pencil out, you know, calculator, and just kind of like on a coffee break, just watching this video again and going through it. It might take you 3 or 4 times of watching this video to actually go, that makes sense. I understand that now. And this doesn't involve you being a mathematician. It doesn't involve you being, you know, a nerd. This is simple maths. It's timesing and it's dividing. That's all it is. Timesing and dividing. And thank you so much for being here, guys. I'll see you next week. And I'll probably speak to some of you in the spaces tomorrow. Take it easy, guys.